Yo, welcome to MØRRRA Audio.XYZ. This is your host, Erica Lee Murray, coming at you with some real shit. To those of you who are listening to me for the very first time, welcome. I speak based upon actual experiences and use those experiences as examples, be it surrounding entrepreneurship, fitness, lifestyle, etc. Please submit your questions via Instagram and or YouTube at ERICALEEMURRAY, Erica Lee Murray. Ask and you shall receive. I actually wanted to take a moment to circle back to the very first Q&A that I ever had. I had 4 very juicy, in-depth questions asked of me. I recorded it, and every single time I tried uploading it, because it was actually like a video, not just an audio experience, but it was its own video. I edited it down till about like 30 to 40 minutes, and it would not upload. It would only upload about like 8 minutes of it. So like I'm circling back, and I'm actually going to answer those questions again. I just hope that they don't feel that I like forgot about them, because I didn't. Like I've been trying for weeks and weeks on end. Like I think I asked in September, so I'm like, shit, fucking November. But let's jump into this. Daniel Warren asked me, where do you draw your strength from? I basically draw my strength from pain, and it's, I guess in a way it's pretty positive to turn any negative feelings or thoughts into something positive and draw my strength from that. I certainly draw my creativity from that. I have aforementioned before that, like, when it came to instances like with my mother, I would create, and it would give me that extra oomph to do things as an outlet for me. And I've spoken about outlets as well. So one is creativity and one is fitness. So I'm able to get a lot of my frustrations out through fitness, and I can see like the changes in my body, and I'm becoming healthier. And it's just knowing that I can turn something from a negative into a positive, and it all happens, it resides in me. I recalibrate all of that energy into something positive. Like that's where I draw my strength from. I've gone through a whole lot of life in the short amount of time that I've been on this earth. Again, I'm only 26, so to have been a bully in elementary school, to have been bullied in middle school and somewhat in high school, and having suicidal thoughts in middle school and high school because I felt that I didn't have an outlet. Like when you are basically on the cusp of jumping over the wrong edge, like when you are put in that particular position and you feel like you're hit with all of this energy of it's not your time to go yet, like you still have so much that you need to do, you just don't know what it is yet, but like you're meant for something more. Once you're hit with that, and hit with the idea of time goes on with or without you, once you're hit with that reality, that gives you strength. And it puts things in perspective of middle school is only for a short period of time, it'll soon be done. High school is only for a short period of time, that will soon be done. To have gone through domestic violence, to have gone through emotional and like somewhat physical, but it was more kind of like a shaming kind of thing, kind of like being depantsed and being shoved by a boyfriend at the time in high school, and basically a laughingstock, being yelled at and treated like shit in front of his friends, to basically have your worth, quote unquote, ripped away from you and shredded apart, and you're comparing yourself to another female thinking, oh, she's more worthy because he has his attention. Like all of these things, like you have to look at it and be like, I'm better than that. And I even say this to my dog anytime like she acts up, or if I look at other people and like they make poor choices, in my head I'm just like, you're better than that. You're better than that. And sometimes I look at myself in the mirror and be like, I'm better than that. well, what does that look like? How can I bring that person into fruition? Like spending time alone. I've always been a lone wolf, but I've never actually like dealt with it and actually got to know myself, because here I was, a younger version of me, trying to fulfill other people's idea of perfection of me, and I'm trying to bring that into fruition instead of bringing into fruition what I view as myself and my worthiness to be. People say know your worth, people say find your worth. I'm just like, it's in there, but I have to decide, okay, this is what I really need to be working on for me. I have these particular issues, where does that stem from? And actually taking the time and looking at the issue and working backwards, getting to the root of it, be it if it was inflicted by someone else. Like, I have daddy issues, and here and there I'll get little triggers, but it's not as prominent because I learned to deal with it and have dealt with a lot of things. And funny thing enough is I didn't have those conversations with my dad to solve it. It's one of those things that you acknowledge that, okay, my self-worth felt diminished because I was comparing my worthiness to that of the two kids that my dad left my mother and myself for when he was entertaining another woman and her kids. Like, to me, I'm just like, I'm always trying to prove myself to be better than those kids. And anytime I would receive some type of item or gift or money, I would later find out that he already did that for other kids. I remember this one time that my dad gifted me this bracelet, and I had a thing for sterling silver. I don't know why, like my eyes would just automatically just like gravitate towards silver. So I would have a lot of jewelry that was sterling silver, and it had like this little capsule in it, and the liquid was magnifying, and on a grain of rice was my first name. And it had my birthstone in it, which is garnet. So there's a little birthstone and a little grain of rice with my name on it. And then there was this miniature rose, like miniature, like to fit into this little capsule. And it was blue, the blue rose, blue being my favorite color, or a variation of it. And I felt special, like, wow, my dad really cares, like this is such a thoughtful gift. And then I'd be on the phone with him because he and I would talk every Sunday growing up. It was our allotted time, 7 p.m. every Sunday. We would talk. And then I found out that a woman that he was dating at the time, he got her daughter the same gift. And so that gift didn't mean that much to me anymore because he already provided that for someone else. Like, there was nothing that was mine that I'm like, wow, he really truly cared about me. And when it came to this little bunny, this little fluffy bunny that he drew up for me, and it was made with like little tiny dots and lines, and for those that are artists out there, you know what I'm talking about, where you just do dot by dot, and it, looking at it super close, all you see is these tiny little dots or these tiny little lines, but if you were to like take a step back and look at the bigger picture, it's actually a depiction of something. Mine was a fluffy bunny, and I loved it. Like, I cherished it, and you basically know where like this story is going. Like, someone else had the pleasure, another child had the pleasure of having something pretty much similar to what I had. And what did I do out of anger? I tore it into little pieces because it wasn't mine, it wasn't special. All I ever wanted was to be treated special and different from everyone else. So when it came to relationships, same concept. And I already developed a complex when it came to materialistic things, because my dad was spending money on me or giving me money to make up for the fact that he wasn't there to actually spend time with me. I would see him every other summer, and we would have phone conversations. So being in a relationship, I'll use my high school sweetheart as an example. He and I are no longer together, but that was a range of like 6 to 7 years, and he was working about 2 jobs, and then he would hang out with his friends and everything. And that was, sad to say, he dated a more insecure version of myself. Like, I was young and still trying to figure me out and trying to be perfect to him and to his family, and I was losing myself in my identity that I was barely beginning to learn to begin with. So that was pretty much like null and void from the very get-go. And all I wanted was his time. So what did I do? Hey, let's go shopping. Hey, let's do this. Hey, let's do that. Or if I get you this, what do I get out of it? So in a way, like, I turned into like a prostitute in my own relationship, just so that I can have quality time with this person that I cared about. And that sounds awfully like what I was trying to get with my dad. All I wanted was for him to spend time with me. But what did I get instead? Money or materialistic items. So a complex derived from that. Granted, I've nipped all of that in the bud, and I'm very vocal now of, I just want you to spend time with me. I don't really care what that looks like, but it's the thought and the initiative that counts. I just want quality time. That kind of falls within like the 5 languages of love. Like, what is it, 5 or 4? I think they added like a 5th one. Nonetheless, I digress. But that's all I really, really wanted, was just quality time. I don't think that I was asking for a lot, but it hurt. So when it comes to where I derive my strength from, it's pain. It's pain and all the hurt and all the bullshit and everything. I basically reconfigure that into something positive. And it's not something that you're able to do overnight. It takes time, and you need to get to the root as to where is this pain coming from? What is the result of that pain that is making me do negative things and getting like negative consequences and feedback, and how can I switch that into something more positive? That I have learned to be unafraid of being vulnerable. Want to know why? Because I have already mentioned it in my previous podcast. By you not being vulnerable and speaking up and actually giving situations as to what you've gone through, other people won't know, and those that are afraid to speak up, they'll still feel alone. You're not alone. I'm giving you my strength that I have fucking earned throughout the years to really get to the nitty-gritty of, this is my shit, this is me going through the trenches, and this is how I have risen from that. I'm strong, I'm healthy, I'm fucking resilient, I have the integrity, I have all of these attributes that I want to contribute to my community, to society. That's why I always say, give yourself permission. Here I was going through the years searching for permission, wishing for someone to give me permission to do the things that I want to do in life, and what did I do? I basically wasted time. But if I were to actually like look at that, I feel like it wasn't wasted time. I was procrastinating on my growth, and I needed to do various things to basically pump some life into it and take those steps forward. From my pain, I grew strength. So very long-winded, but I had to like give examples of, this is the pain that I went through, and an example of the pain, and these are how I took the steps to really truly break it down as to what are the bad habits that I have, and it derived from pain, and how can I strengthen myself from that. I have daddy issues. There's a lot of isms that I have. I look at it, I acknowledge that my dad did the best he could with what he knew at that time frame. He's not a bad person, he just probably didn't make the best choices at that time frame in his life, and I can't hold him accountable for that. Who am I to hold anyone accountable? I can only hold myself accountable. And so I move forward. I don't have any bitter feelings towards my dad or anything of that nature, because I have surpassed all of that. Because if I keep holding on to it, it's kind of like the thing that I mentioned to my boyfriend previously, because we were talking about growth, and you have various doors that kind of open up and whatnot. But I told him, how can you attempt to open another door when you're holding the door behind you still open? How can you go through the door that's in front of you if you're still holding the door behind you? Like, you need to let the past go so you can propel yourself forward. I get irritable when I'm plateauing and there isn't any growth. So I don't know what that looks like for other people, but I know that to be true for myself. And then I become stagnant, and then I regress, and then I get pissed off, and it's just a shit show. Literally a freaking shit show. But nonetheless, thank you, Daniel Warren, for your question. Next, I'm going to move on to Mushan Knowles. Where do you see yourself in 4 years? I don't know. And personally, I don't want to know until the fourth year happens and be like, so this is what was basically mapped out for myself. Because when you plan everything of what you want to attain or what you truly see for yourself in a short amount of time, and I say 4 years is a short amount of time because I have aspirations that I'm like, where do I see myself in the next 10 to 20 years? But I feel like it isn't even materialistic or what I have accomplished. It's like, what type of mindset do I want to be in that time frame? So I already know that I'm resilient now and have the integrity, and I've wholeheartedly been working on my communication skills and doing all of these things and learning how to network, and great. But I don't know what's going to come into fruition from all of that, and I don't have any expectations. Want to know why? Because once you have expectations, you leave room for disappointment. And I have already endured so much disappointment in life that I don't want to grant more disappointment. Like, I'm not here for it. So that's why when I set goals, I make them very broad, and then I have like little skeletal versions of like little milestones, but it doesn't have to fit it exactly. Want to know why? Because if it doesn't happen to the T, I don't have any room to be disappointed because I left myself room of, but I want it to have the essence of this. And if I get that, I'm happy with it, because a lot of people have experienced oh, here's my plan. It didn't go according to plan, but I ended up with the same result. So you're upset that it didn't happen exactly to your plan, but you ended up with the same result of what you originally wanted. So why be disappointed? Like, as long as you end up with the end result that you want, how you get there should not necessarily matter, because you have been basically molded mentally, spiritually, physically, to be able to attain that goal. So where do I see myself in 4 years? I don't know. But I know that I'm going to be an even better version of myself, and to have influenced more than just a handful of people that I talk to in person or on social media. Like, I want to broaden my horizon, and I know that's going to happen because I'm putting content out there. I don't really pay attention to how many views I'm getting, because that's not the end goal. How many views I get, my goal right now is to be consistent, be passionate about being consistent, and create content that I'm passionate about. Like, that's why I wholeheartedly believe in credibility, because I'm not here for bullshit. I'm not here to sell you a product. I'm not here to sell you on, I'm a motivational speaker. I'm here to inspire you. Rah, rah, rah. No, I am basically a little window. I'm only one female in a demographic of a whole lotta. I'm just one little person who's showing you a window of her world, and basically giving you the tools and the lessons that I've learned from that. So if ever you're going through it, have gone through it, or anything, like, you basically know the recipe on how I got out of that and how I grew. I'm not here to say my way is right, because that's not true. Everything is different for everyone. Or as some like to say, everybody is different. Everyone is different. Everyone's success story, everyone's version of success is different. So I don't see myself driving a Lexus around or having like a 4-story house. I'm over exaggerating over here. I'm not seeing myself having $1 million and then some, or having my multi-million-dollar business pop off in the next 4 years. No, I would be happy enough to still have my health, being able to influence others and be in front of more faces so that I can look at you, shake your hand, even give you a hug and embrace you and just be like, this is what we need, human connection. I may be talking to you through some type of medium, but we're all connected and we need that human we need to be talking to one another and supporting one another. That's all I want in the next 4 years. You know? It's just, I feel like it's relatively simple, but it's just so hard if you were to look at the ratio of people that are actually attaining their dreams and actually going for what they want in life compared to those that just sit there and they complain and complain and complain and they want so much and they basically downgrade other people. But I'm like, did anyone actually hear them out or provide them the tools and the resources to be able to let them have the opportunity to grant like the entryway of their own dreams? It's not basically like giving them like a, here you go, here's your dreams on a silver fucking platter, here, you don't have to do any work. That's up to them, but maybe they just don't know how, maybe they just don't know how to ask, or maybe they kind of have like a middle person and basically saying like, hey, I'm asking for a friend. Everyone has dreams, everyone has aspirations. It's different for everyone. But if people don't speak up, how is anyone supposed to know? You know? You know. So, thank you, Mushan. Wow. Sorry, Mushan, I totally like butchered your name. Thank you, Mushan Knowles, for your question. Next question comes from Kenyatta Banks. What are your fears? If I were to actually like look at the grand scheme of things, I would say that one of my fears is being successful. And that's only one of, I want to say two main fears. I do have a fear of success. I say that very loosely now because it's not as strong as it used to be, or it's not as prominent as it used to be compared to like 7-8 years ago. Using YouTube as like an example, like I've been wanting to do it for the past 7 to 8 years, and like I would get in my own way. And I remember working at Starbucks. I used to work at Starbucks for 3 years, and the manager there, she even said, she's like, Erica, you're afraid of success. And I never really broke down what she was talking about, but I'm like thinking about it, I'm like, oh my god, you're right, because what would I do? I would sabotage myself. Anytime I had a great opportunity, I would sabotage myself. Oh, you're not good enough for that. Oh, you can't do that. And I feel like a lot of people do that themselves, and it comes in a form of inconsistency. Like, you know what you want and you see yourself at the end goal, but then those negative thoughts kind of begin to seep in, or other people's negative affirmations about you begin to seep in because their version of their truth, apparently you put it more so on a pedestal compared to the thoughts that you have of yourself, but they seep in, they're toxic, they're parasitic, and they just latch onto you and basically suck your dreams dry, and then you're kind of left with regret and disappointment. So I did that. It took many, many years, again, 7 to 8 years, to develop that fuck it mentality, because there's only one you. And granted, I may have a podcast right now, I may have a YouTube channel right now, I have an Instagram account, so does everyone else. Well, not everyone, but so does a good chunk of the world right now. They have different platforms and different mediums where they express themselves. But your gift, your talent is no one is like you. So you may have a podcast just like me, probably talking about like your own personal experience, but your personal experience are different than mine. Your parents were different than mine. Your life is different from mine. Your opinions are different than mine, and that's okay. We all don't have to agree to the same thing. Like, I'm all for open-mindedness, as long as like you're not here to attack anyone and take a jab at people's character and all of these other negative things. Like, if you were to just sit down and be open-minded to what people have to say, you don't have to agree nor disagree, but just appreciate the fact that, hey, this person feels extremely passionate about what they're saying, and I would hope that they're open-minded enough to hear my side or to hear feedback or anything of that nature. It's just, success looks different to everyone, and self-sabotage is a legitimate thing. And when it comes to self-sabotage, we basically attract that type of reflection. So my inner circle, we talk about reflections and be like, hey, what up, reflection, or I love myself, and all of these other things, because like we are reflections of various qualities of one another. So my significant other and I, we're reflections of, we're both feelers, and we're resilient, and all of these positive things. Are there a couple of negative things? Like when shit hits the fan and life really hits us, we become very immobile, and we kind of just, we hide in our caves and basically piece ourselves back together before we go back out into the world and have at it again. Like we have a shutdown moment, and he and I share that same reflection. We also have our own differences, yet there will probably be other people in our circle that reflect that in him, reflect that in me. So when it comes to self-sabotaging, we attract that type of reflection. I've come across a lot of females that will basically say a lot of negative things about themselves, and they worry about what other people think of them. So what do they attract? People who say negative things about them, because they're putting it out there. So what are you going to receive? You're receiving affirmations of the thoughts that you already have of yourself. And what does that feed into? Your self-sabotage. And what does that feed into? Your fear of success, because you're getting in your own way for you to be successful. You versus you. So I was getting in my own way. I was basically granting other people to have their opinions about me and saying this is true. All these negative things that they're saying about me is true, and this is why I'm not successful. This is why I haven't graduated from college, even though I've practically been enrolled in college for about 8 years, and if I were to graduate, I would have been in college for a damn near a decade. And the on-running joke is, oh, do you have your doctorate degree? How many master's degrees do you have? And all these other fucking things. And just like, you don't realize how many times life has hit me where I've had to walk away, or I wasn't able to pay for parking, or being able to afford to go to class. Like, that shit's real. But I'm at a point where I'm just like, I know that, they don't know that, maybe they don't need to know that. They're just saying things as a reflection of themselves, and that has nothing to do with me. I'm probably triggering something in them, and then they're basically like fueling off of whatever the fuck, but you can have all of that and be over there. I'm gonna be over here trying to attract positive affirmations of myself. It's all about a mindset. So ladies, if you say, oh, I'm just cute, or I want to be pretty like her, or I'm not worthy enough, you're going to attract males that have that same mindset about you, and that's going to affirm whatever negative thoughts that you have about yourself, and basically be like, well, he likes me, so this is good enough. and then he treats you like shit, and he cheats on you, and doing all of these various things, like, that's a reflection of how you view yourself in terms of your own worthiness. So I had a fear of success, and I would self-sabotage, and I would look elsewhere to affirm why I'm not successful. I was letting that happen. It all comes back to me. I take ownership of all of my choices. That's my responsibility. I can't blame it onto someone else and say, it's your fault. No, it's my fault. I acknowledge that. I don't need anyone else to tell me, hey, you done fucked up and this is why, and I don't need that drilled into my head. I get it. I see the bigger picture. So, second fear. First fear was of success. Second fear is of the unknown. And I would remember all of these conversations that I actually had with my father anytime I was stressed out and like my head would just pop off. I was stressed out of the unknown because I didn't know what the consequences looked like, be it good or bad. Like, the fear of the unknown was literally eating me alive, because if I made this choice, well, what will happen? Like, it would give me anxiety. And I couldn't live my life like that. If I create this podcast, what's going to happen? I don't know. I'm not going to put any expectations on it because that leaves room for disappointment, and I'm not here for it. All I want to do is keep pumping out content in hopes that I'm gratifying myself, that I'm fulfilling one of my outlets. And if you listeners, I was about to say viewers, if you listeners and or viewers, because right now I think you're just looking at my logo, like, if any of this resonates with you, like, you're enjoying it too, and I would hope that you're enjoying it as well. But it's not an expectation. You put it out there, whatever happens to it once it's out there, it's not on me. Like, I put it out there, and my job, I guess you could say, is to create more content, do things that are serving the community and serving myself. We are here for servitude, and that does not mean that you're a servant and you're oppressed and on someone's fucking beck and call. It's just like, how are you adding value to other people's lives? A lot of people have said to me, oh my gosh, you're so inspiring, oh, you're so motivational, and in my head, I'm just like, I don't see it. The way that I articulate is, I guess, different from other people, but I'm unafraid to share my truth from my experiences. I'm not here to push it down your throat saying that I'm right. Kind of the same thing with the whole trans veganism. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's simply a preference for me, and it sits a whole lot better with my mind to know that I can enjoy my life and live my life without harming or at another's expense. Like, that sits better with my conscience, and I feel a lot better. And the cystic acne, by the way, is going away, but that works for me. That's not gonna work for everyone else. Like, a lot of people are like, but I need me. That's you. When you're ready, you're ready. If you want recipes and such, hit me up. I got you. One of my friends actually hit me up, and I'm like, I'm already coming up with a couple of recipes that work for me, and I hope that you would be able to enjoy it too. But that's not force-feeding anyone. But that's because I've been putting it out there in my content that this is the journey that I'm going on. This is a lifestyle that I am growing into. Before, I would have the fear of the unknown and basically clam up because anything that I said or did would have some type of consequence, and I didn't know what that was going to look like. Before I function, I would have to have all of the information. Hence why I don't like surprises. Like, I need to know, where are we going, when are we going, who's going to be there, this, that, or the other, am I going to be wearing the right shoes? Like, I need to know all of these things so that I can be able to function. And I still have little isms that I'm trying to basically smooth out. But the fear of the unknown, especially being a young entrepreneur, It's hindering. That's probably why I haven't made major moves, because I'm still in the planning bit and I need to be executing. And I execute on lower levels, but I'm just like, I just need to take the big fucking jump and just do it. Hence why I'm doing this fucking podcast, because it's satisfying to me and it's something major to me. And I know I can apply the mindset that I have by doing this and apply it to my business. So I can be like, yes, I do have a mentorship program. Yes, I am actually a mentor. Yes, I actually do these things. Yes, I am a social media consultant. Yes, I am a travel agent. You want to travel? And you want to save some Skrilla so that you can actually enjoy experiences to wherever you're traveling to? I got you. But here I am, like, being shy. Still, I'm working on it. That's why I haven't been very prominent with things. But I know y'all have seen my logo for those that have been following me around. I know that I have spoken to quite a few people about my apparel line and all of these other things. I have if you pay attention, I drop little hints, but I'm just not very prominent with it. Maybe I should be like Shameless Maya and just shamelessly just, hey, this is what the fuck it is. But I'm learning on my own terms, and I'm doing little things, because that fear of the unknown and not knowing in which direction it's going to go in and how fast and how I'm going to modify my lifestyle and my livelihood to whatever happens, like, it freaks me the fuck out. But I signed up for this. As a young entrepreneur, you sign up for everything because you are your own boss and you're basically a leader to whomever you hire. You're leading by example to whomever you're influencing. So I'm putting myself on the chopping block. And I'm getting hit with everything because it starts with me. So whose fault is it? It's mine, and I need to take ownership of that. So fear of the unknown. Eventually, hopefully I could say the unknown can kiss my ass compared to like my fear of success. But time will tell. But those are my main two fears when it comes to that whole spiel. Thank you, Kenyatta Banks, for your question. And the very last question is from Shelby Feehan? Oh gosh. Shelby Feehan? So, she asks, ooh, my throat's dry. That's what I get for being extra passionate, right? She asks, what are your goals in life? So, in a nutshell, I notice I say that a lot. I think that's the Erica-ism. I like to say, like, if that blows your skirt up and all these other various things. But, Shelby, my goals in life, basically, I want to be the person that I didn't have growing up. I needed someone to talk to vent to be vulnerable with, and to get feedback. I needed someone to lead by example and basically say, hey, this is how you start a business. Hey, this is how you network. This is how you communicate to these various types of people. I didn't have that, and I had to learn the hard way. Being spontaneous, moving to freaking Phoenix with only $200 in my pocket without a clear plan, under false pretenses of, hey, all of this stuff will be taken care of until you get a job, and come to find out that person is about a month and a half late on bills and a month behind on rent, and like off the cuff, like applying for jobs just to have a roof over my head. Like, being spontaneous, it has its ups and downs, but I learned from it. But if I had someone to actually like truly confide in with all of that, maybe I could have avoided it. I don't know. I can play the what if card like all freaking day, but that wouldn't necessarily accomplish anything. It would just give me anxiety because I'm just like, oh shit, all these what ifs, you know? So, did I have, like, a lot of influences that were older? Yes, but it wasn't necessarily, like, what I needed. And when I had the job that I had for 4 years, and being I'm awkward. I'm still awkward to this very day, so that has never changed. But now I can articulate myself in a way where I'm just like, I can be social and get a job done. I can be social and make people laugh and be the innuendo queen that I know that I am to be. I actually have a 85-year-old perverted male inside of this young girl's body, but not a lot of people know that, and I actually got chastised a lot by those that are younger than me that I'm too sexual for my own good, but I find the humor in everything that is sexual. Because you have a penis, great. I have a vagina, great. Some people have both, cool. We all have nipples, so what? So it's just like one of those things I'm just like, who gives a fuck? But I digress. But I had to learn how to communicate in different scenarios and have had it, Having have had a leadership position, I had to be able to articulate to those that were younger than me, around my age, and those that were older than me. I had to communicate to various types of customers and basically try to do my job. And I didn't have that skill set at all growing up because I wasn't allowed to really have friends and talk on the phone and invite people over and go to other people's houses. Like, I didn't have that skill set. I didn't have anyone to teach me that skill set. Like, learning from the book of Hard Knocks, like, literally. So, not saying that I'm going to teach everyone to have a more perverted mindset and thinking of every type of funny sexual thing that pops up if it crosses your path or whatever, but when it comes to embracing having an open mind, to reading people's body language and knowing that something seems wrong and some people just need to vent and someone to just listen to them, to be able to motivate and inspire when necessary, and leading by example, genuinely smile, because smiling is contagious. Same thing with laughter. Smiling is contagious. You can't look at someone who's smiling and not smile with them, you know? So when it comes to growing a business, I know how I influence other people and the other entrepreneurs on how to do it. I didn't have that. I'm not saying that I needed a best friend or saying that I needed a mentor, but I think that's what I'm alluding towards. I didn't have any of those things, not saying that that's how they should have been framed. I had older sisters that were influential to some degree, but it's not what I needed. And growing up, knowing that there's various types of mentors, be it, that's gross. Be it a financial mentor, business mentor, spiritual mentor, all of these various types of mentors. I needed more abundant thinkers. And I acknowledge that I am an abundant thinker. Anyone that says something negative, I always think of something positive. And it's a muscle I actually used to exercise, and a lot of negative people actually hated the fact that I had something positive to say for every negative thing that they had to say. But the thing is, I'm just I can't. I'd rather happiness and positivity to be contagious compared to negativity, because being positive for some apparent reason is so much harder for some compared to negativity. I want to be the person that I didn't have growing up. I want to influence others to attain everything that they've ever wanted in life, but not at the expense of others. That doesn't mean using people or, she has a huge following, I'm going to interact with her, and I'm going to collaborate with her so I can tap into this. He has all this money. I want to tap it. Why? Why can't we just interact with one another, genuinely build rapport with them, and not to use them or gain information and tools and mindset? Why can't you just actually genuinely care about someone and actually get to know them and be hey, I fuck with you? Well, granted, not a lot of people cuss, but just I vibe with you. We share a common wavelength of influencing people to be better, every single day we should be striving to be a better version of ourselves. And it's hard. It's hard. So why not develop that support system? Why not develop that community? That's what I want to do. I want to contribute to that. It's hard, and sometimes it's challenging at times, because I'm just like looking at some of the interactions that I have the pleasure of being a part of or witnessing. I'm just like, why? Because I see the intentions. I think I briefly discussed intentions before. I'm like, why would you have that type of intention? Like, what are you looking to validate in life? Why are you looking elsewhere to confirm that, hey, I matter in this world? You should already know that you matter in this world. What are you passionate about, and what are you contributing to others? Any person that interacts with me and actually gets to know me and isn't afraid to ask those deeper questions, we get to the nitty gritty and I open up and people say, oh, you're just so strong. Oh, you're the... Okay, thank you. But how did any of what I said basically like resonate with you as a person? And what can you grasp from what I've told you, from our experience, that you can use to make yourself better as a person, not to build up your bank account? I know a lot of motivational speakers and crap, and not saying that their shit is crap, but like there's motivational speakers, there's life coaches, oh my gosh, don't even get... Okay, so I'll give you a scenario of what I do not wish to be, and I actually legitimately got pissed off with this interaction, and I'll delve into the whys, but let me give you the situation that happened. This was sometime in July, just this past summer. Because I was going through like a crash course of really getting to know myself and not being afraid of getting into the nitty-gritty of me, I was following a lot of people like on Instagram and reading their content. I was like listening to a lot of podcasts and motivational speakers. I delved into a TED Talk. Eventually, I would love to do a TED Talk, but I'm going to speak it into existence, but I know eventually it'll happen, but that's what I was listening to. And I fell upon this one person, and he calls himself, or he claims to be, or whatever, how he categorizes himself, I don't know, as a millennial life coach. And in my head, I'm like, what the fuck does that even mean? And I was like, you're a millennial yourself, so you have everything figured out because you're still going through the trenches. But I'm like, whatever. Like, looking at his content just briefly, I'm like, oh, I dig it, so I follow. And so I like his stuff, this, that, or the other. But like, I was checking out like his YouTube stuff and like how he was sounding. I'm like, yo, you kind of sound like Gary Vee, but I am paying attention to what you're saying. Granted, what you're saying, you have a lot of vigor and it seems like a lot of passion behind it, and you're like, oh, yeah, kind of like mentality. Like, okay, great, but some of the things that you're saying, like, I don't agree with. So, one of the posts he made, I saw the photo and I was just like, oh, I like this quote. I double tapped it. I didn't read the caption because I have it takes a lot to hold my interest on a couple of things, so like I continuously like move on. Like I lose interest in conversations from time to time, and I have mentally moved on. I know, I'm sorry if I did that to you, like I apologize. It's just, it takes a lot to stimulate my mind to hold my attention. I'm just putting it out there, but I digress. I liked one of his photos, and he messages me saying, hey, what made you decide to interact with that post? And I'm just like, what are you talking about? And I go back, and I look, I'm like, oh, because I liked the photo. But then I read the caption, and the caption did not coincide with my values. And the tone of it, I'm like, I don't agree with this. So then I'm just like, I kind of want to take the like back, because now I understand in what context you were talking about, but off the cuff, just some surface shit, yeah, like, but seeing your whole mindset, I'm like, I don't agree with that. And I feel like, person on the outside looking in, for those that are trying to be influenced by someone who, quote unquote, has figured it out, like, they're going to be adopting that type of mindset, and I'm like, yeah, I don't agree with that. And he and I continue messaging in my DMs, and then he's like, hey, we should have a phone call. In my head, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, he wants to collaborate with me. Oh no, that was not the case. So we schedule a phone call, and I know that not everyone freaking lives in Arizona. That would be pretty dumb to think that everyone lives in Arizona. But we set a time. I think it was supposed to be like 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And he doesn't call. And he's the one who messaged me. He's the one that wanted to do this phone call, and he didn't call me. And in my head, I'm just like, well, this is bullshit. Like, here I am, like, taking the time out of my day for this phone call that you were very insistent on, because I didn't want the phone call, but you were insistent on it, so we're doing this phone call. You don't call. You call me about an hour and a half to 2 hours later, apologizing and wanting to reschedule. You've wasted my time once. Why would I want to reschedule again? Because I basically cleared off a slot to have a conversation with you. Like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. I feel like that was very inconsiderate of you, and you are a millennial life coach. Whatever. So, he wanted to reschedule something with me. I didn't want to reschedule. He's like, well, what are you afraid of? I'm like, I'm not afraid of anything. I just don't see the point to have a conversation. Let's just have a conversation. Okay, fine. Let's have this conversation. We reschedule it. I said, please call me at 2. So what does he do? He calls me like at 1, and I'm like, I told you it was supposed to be at 2. Yeah. I apologize, but like I forgot that I had another phone call at that time frame. But don't worry, I cleared it for you. Well, young homie, you're not doing me any freaking favors. Like, you're the one that was insistent on this phone call. We scheduled it for 2. You don't call me at 2. You continue to tell me that you forgot that you had already pre-scheduled something at 2, but you did me a favor and moved it to where we still have our phone conversation at 2. Like, that doesn't make any sense. I'm just like, okay, now I'm getting irritated. So this is bullshit. I'm not even on my lunch yet at my job, and he's blowing up my phone, calling me like back to back. I'm like, why are you trying to have this conversation before 2? Like, the conversation was supposed to be at 2. The meeting was supposed to be at 2. I pick up the phone. Hey, is this Erica? Yes, are you so-and-so? Yeah. So, basically, thank you so much for interacting with my content on Instagram. Like, I know that you've been checking me out for a long period of time. I know that you're trying to get on YouTube and you're trying to influence the masses and da-da-da-da-da. So basically, I have a phone call right after this, so we're going to have to keep it short, sweet, and to the point, making sure that this phone call is 10 to 15 minutes. And basically, I'm going to ask you a whole bunch of questions to see if you're a great fit for me. What? Wait. So this conversation isn't for my benefit. This is for your benefit. And I was just like, so is this how he talks to his clients? So I'm making mental notes of all of this. And so he goes, so I have a whole bunch of questions, and we're going to see if, like, you're a great fit for me. And then we can see if I'm a great fit for you. And if neither one works, like, I have someone who is probably a better fit for you. I said, excuse me, sir. I'm not going to mention his name, but, sir, like, you seem extremely frazzled. Oh, yeah, like, I'm just so busy, and, like, a lot of things are becoming a bit unorganized, and I just have a lot of things going on, and I'm just, like, really stressed out right now. In my head, I'm thinking, but you're supposed to be a millennial life coach. Like, you had your shit together. You should be calm, cool, and collected because you have figured it out. You sound like a millennial that has lost his mind. Like, you're supposed to be coaching people. You're not leading by example in this conversation right now. So he asked me his questions, and he asked me again, like, what are my goals? And basically I told him to be the person that I didn't have growing up, and I wanted to do it through these various types of mediums. So he's like, okay, in what time frame do you want to do this? I pretty much give him the analytics of what I personally wanted to work with. And then he asks me, so, why do you need me? Bruh, I don't need you for anything. You have made it very evident during this conversation that you have basically inflated what you can contribute to an individual, especially a millennial, because right now all you're selling to me is a short attention span, not being very mindful of anything that I'm saying, and just basically like in it for the monetary revenue of this recruitment that you're trying to get, because you're trying to basically get me to be your client. That's what basically was going into my mind. I'm like, well, what is it that you need of me? I rephrased the question. Well, what is it that you need of me? Not why do you need me? What do you need of me for us to basically collaborate on something? Because that's what I thought. I thought this was supposed to be collaborative. I didn't see it as he's trying to recruit me as I'm a poor girl in need. Like, I didn't think that was the conversation until I was in the conversation. I'm like, oh, he was just trying to get a +1 on his clientele list. And we were actually going back and forth. He's like, why can't you just answer the question? Well, I don't know how best to answer your question if you don't answer mine. Well, why don't you answer my question first so that I can be able to answer yours? You know what? I said, ask me again. And then so he laughs. Oh my God, I get like... I just think it's very humorous to me that you have this animosity and then have the audacity to laugh in the phone at me like I'm incompetent. You laugh because I said, ask me again. Because when you ask me again, I'm going to be very upfront and forward with my answer. Go ahead, ask me the question again, and go ahead, chuckle along with it. Why do you need me? I don't need you, sir. I actually said his name, not in the phone conversation. Like, I don't need you. You want to know why? Because I have gone through my personal experience and have grown from them. I don't need any assistance in any of that because I am my own life coach. I don't need any type of influence elsewhere where I need to hire a life coach. I don't need you. I don't. He's like, oh, okay. I said, you know, sir, can I provide you some feedback? And he's like, yeah, I'm totally all for having feedback. Okay, listen. Truly listen. I said, you know, next time that you have a conversation, make sure that you are mindfully listening, because you aren't listening to my answers. You actually go, and then move on to the next question. You're not being mindful of what I'm saying. You sound very rushed. Yeah, I've been like through the ringer, like my schedule is just so full, I'm just so busy. Great. Well, I don't need to know that, and you should not portray any of your stressors within our phone conversation. You should remain calm, cool, and collected, and again, be mindful of who you're talking to. But easy. And also, I told him, please be mindful of the next person that you talk to after a 15-minute conversation. Actually listen to them. Because right now, with all of your stressors and everything, like, you're making my heart race, and you're making me talk really, really fast because I'm working on your time, and I feel that it is extremely inconsiderate of me when I originally did not want to have this phone call to begin with. Oh, I'm so sorry, Erica. Like, I'll be mindful of that for the next conversation that I have. well, just looking over everything, I feel that you'd be a great fit for me. Really? Because I was jumping all down your throat just as you were jumping down mine because you're being incredibly inconsiderate of me. And he's just like, so, what about you? I was like, no, we aren't compatible. I'm not interested in your services. And I'm not interested in the services of whoever you're trying to recruit me to. Like, I'm done with this conversation. So, I wish the best for you, sir. Like, nothing but the best. Have a great day. Click. I was fuming. Oh my god, I was fuming afterwards. You want to know why I was fuming? Granted, no one is asking me this right now. The main reason why I'm fuming, well, not currently fuming, why I was fuming about this is how he is treating his clients. Basically, a bully. I basically was being bullied into a service that I didn't want, bullied into a phone conversation I didn't want, and basically treated as less than when it came to my time. And, like, basically, there was a lack of consideration in everything in that whole interaction because he was only thinking of the end result, how I can grow as an entrepreneur and how many clients I have and how much money I can make. I'm like, you're thinking about that being the end result instead of thinking how I influence someone's life for the better. And I was pissed off. Like, I think I vented to like 3 people. Like, I'm so pissed off because people that actually truly need the help are going to basically get bunched into whatever consultation that fucking was. That was a fucking shit show. And basically like, yeah, this is what it is to be a young entrepreneur. This is what it is to be a millennial entrepreneur, when that is not the case. For a millennial life coach, you better have your fucking shit together and not stressing people out. You should have your life together. If anything, I should be your life coach because I could teach you how to talk to people, actually be a mindful listener, taking into account that the money thing will come eventually if that is a part of the end product. But that should not be your motivation, is the money. The motivation should be, how am I impacting other people's lives for the better? I'm like, you fucking greedy ass. You're treating everyone like a fucking mule and basically seeing them as dollar signs, using them up, and they're thinking that they're applying the tools that you're portraying for them, thinking that this is going to make them better, when in actuality, it's probably some shit that you got from like the Gary Vee show and you're feeding it to these people and putting a freaking dollar sign on it and being like, this is what it costs for my services. That's what infuriates me, that people aren't willing to do the research and thinking this is how a young entrepreneur should be, and it's not. And so after that phone conversation, I listened to his content again, and I actually went onto his YouTube, and I think I'm older than him. I think he's like in the younger age ranges of within the 20 realm, but I think it's like 21, 22. Nonetheless, he kept saying, I don't care, I don't care, I don't care. Like basically saying he doesn't care about people's excuses and doesn't care about like all the bullshit and everything. And I'm just like, that's actually what people need, is for people to care. That's actually one of our main issues, is people not caring, hence why people commit suicide, because they feel that no one cares. No, you need to care. That's probably why you weren't very mindful in our conversation. And you didn't listen to basically me saying, without me actually saying it, like, you're a piece of shit and I really want to get off the phone with you right now. But I took it as a learning opportunity of, there's actually entrepreneurs that function like you. I don't see them as competition or anything of that nature, but it's just enlightening to know that there are entrepreneurs like you who don't care about the people. And that is who you're providing a service for. You're basically treating them like mules and cattle, rounding them up, milking them dry, and then dropping them and moving on to the next fucking batch. I have a lot of spit in my mouth. I think it's because I'm extra passionate right now. But it's just, if if I were to break it down, like I said before, I feel like he is trying to talk with a lot of energy and passion. I say passion very loosely in this scenario, but I feel like he's trying to talk like a Gary Vee and basically like saying this is what it is. But I'm like, no, you just sound like very angry and impatient, but you're calling it passion, and like that's what you're selling and that's what you're providing your clients. And I'm just like, that doesn't, I don't think that you're going to last that long as an entrepreneur. And if you do, it's again going to be a very short run, because if you're already stressed out and you're in the very beginning stages of your entrepreneurship and having your business, like that's going to cause a whole slew of health problems. And like you need to sit your happy little ass down and break it down into a bigger picture that doesn't have you as the center of it. It should be your clients that should be the center of it, not you. You should already be whole and fucking abundant, that your abundance spills over the rim of the cup into the fucking saucer where your clients can feed off of your energy and apply it to whatever they want to accomplish in life. Your cup is empty and and it's rimmed with like bitterness and all of these other negative things. Like it's a fucking shit show. It's a fucking shit show. And you're trying to sell all of these tools of success. Hey. And people are buying into it. I'm not sitting here saying, hey, stop it. Sorry, that's my dog. Can you sit down? Sit. I'm not saying I don't want him to be successful. I'm saying he's going about it in a very inconsiderate way and not thinking about the people. And I don't agree with that. But I mean, kudos to you, and if that is what you feel is what success looks like to you, it is what it is. And low-key, I feel like he may be watching some of my content to see how I'm growing and developing. And hey, you know who I'm talking about. If you're checking this podcast out, hey, hope you've been well. And I hope that you're applying what I'm saying in this podcast to whatever the fuck your business is, because your business is a shit show. Your business is a shit show. Like, you have a whole bunch of things that you need to figure out, and you need to surround yourself with those who are more so abundant thinkers compared to those that have a fixed mindset on what they believe entrepreneurship is to be. Because you don't know what you don't know, and you know what you do know. And I'm letting you know that how you're going about it, it's not going to be as fruitful as you would hope it to be. And you're going to attract people that are going to milk you dry. Just look at the bigger picture before you get too deep into something that you'll regret later on. And this is me being the person that I didn't have growing up and providing that service to you. Look at the bigger picture. You are not the center of the universe. It's the people. The market. The market decides on if you're worthy or not. And I'm actually part of that market too. And I don't want your product, and I don't want your stress. I was fucking stressed out and angry because I'm a feeler. I feel people's emotions, and I house them in me for a period of time, trying to break down, like, where is this all coming from? It's because of our interaction that I had with you. So if that's what you're feeling, you're gonna have some hardships, my dude. Like, you need to nip that shit in the bud. But basically, Shelby, that's the person that I want to be. The person that I didn't have growing up. That's my goal. And granted, this is a very long-winded podcast, but I feel it's because it has some backstories to it as to why I have the answers that I have. And, you know, if any of this, like, resonated with anyone, like, again, I don't want people to feel that they're alone. I want us to connect with purpose. Like, I want there to be a strong community of people who support one another and is unafraid to fucking shine and not letting other people fucking mooch off of your shine just so that they can get a little ounce and shine some light into their darkness. And I mean that like in a monetary thing, like they're trying to mooch off of you, like I'm trying to grow this business and get some Skrilla in the freaking meantime. I'm like, if you want advice on how to grow your business, then have the conversation, but be upfront and frank, because you never know who you're interacting with and who is basically able to break down what the intentions are. I could see the fucking intentions 10 gajillion miles away, and you can tell what my intentions are. I just want to have a good time and interact with people. I don't have to look elsewhere through my networking to be like, you have something that I want it. No, I'm like, how can I attain that myself through myself? And that's an opportunity that I have that I'm kind of working on, because I have a thing of not asking for help, but I'm just like, if I am able to do it for myself, why do I need to ask and tap into other people's resources when I don't need to? But that's a conversation for a different day. But I hope that you enjoyed this podcast, or at least this segment. This again is basically like an insight into my lifestyle, just a couple of different scenarios. Like, again, I'm 26. I've experienced a lot of life. Eventually, I think I might talk about like relationships and like what those kind of look like, and maybe like, I don't know. I feel like that's something like extremely raw. I'm not gonna like put anyone like on blast or anything, but like some of the scenarios within some of those relationships, like I'll probably like break it down, or maybe I might focus in on one particular relationship and break that whole thing down, how I grew from that. I don't know. And then I have a whole thing of when it comes to like beauty and makeup, and I'll delve into like some of the things that I use, and like what is the epitome of beauty, and like all of these various things. I'll tap into more of like my own personal businesses and what that looks like for me, how I grew my social media to be what it is now, and my steps forward for growing that so that you can be able to use that. Is that something that I would typically charge for? Yeah, I could, but I do what the fuck I want, and I want you guys to rise with me. When it comes to like the nitty gritty stuff, like you can hit me up and we can have that conversation, and it may come to a point where yes, I do charge for that, but I'm providing you free content now, and some of my isms kind of falls into the category of free content, and same thing goes with like social media and such. Like, there's certain things that I do charge for, and there's certain things that I'm just like, this is what the world probably should hear to grow their social media platforms. Like, there's levels to all of it, you know? It's not like you're asking me to manage your account or anything, which of course, naturally, yes, I would charge for, but I'm going on another tangent. So, if any of this resonated with you, hit that like. If this is what someone may need to hear, share it with them. If you have any questions, if I have another Q&A and you want me to answer anything for you on your behalf, I'm more than happy to do that for you. Hello if you do. Have any questions? Comment on my YouTube or on my Instagram. It's @EricaLeeMurray. I got you. Please remember, give yourself permission. And thank you again to Daniel Warren, Mushan Knowles, Kenyatta Banks, and Shelby Feehan. I'm hopefully pronouncing that correctly. Thank you. Thank you so much for submitting your questions, and I love the fact that they were more in-depth and not very surfacey of like a, hey, what's your favorite color kind of thing, because we need to get past the surface. Alright? I hope you guys have a lovely day. Check you laters. Bye.